ऐश्वर्यस्य विभूषणं सुजनता शौर्यस्य वाक्संयमो ज्ञानस्योपशमः श्रुतस्य विनयो वित्तस्य पात्रे व्ययः अक्रोधस्तपसक्षमा प्रभवितो धर्मस्य निर्व्याजता सर्वेषामपि सर्वकारणमिदं शीलं परं भूषणम् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Good morning, friends. I hope you are all doing great. So, we are on third day of our revision classes for CSEET legal aptitude. We have already covered up companies law, and in today's class, we'll be discussing about Indian Constitution, one more important chapter of CSEET. Totally based on what is applicable to you and what is more of relevant for you, we are going to have a discussion today. Very crisp and clear discussion will be happening today. So please try to pay attention. The more you pay attention, the more clarity you will be getting on concepts. Entire constitution will be covered in today's class, and if time permits, we'll be going for CS legislation also. CS legislation, whatever is there, for that also will be going up. So with that note, I'll be proceeding for today's class. I hope you're all doing great. Yes. All students are online, I guess. So yes. So going ahead with the discussion, Indian Constitution. As you all know, Constitution is the very basic document. It is that document from which the entire governance of India is taking place. It is that document based on which the entire government setup of India is established. It is that document based on which the entire judicial system takes its power, or your executive body takes its power. So we are going to discuss about the most respected, most holy book of Indian law, that is your Constitution, the Constitution of India. You know, right after 1947, when Britishers left India, there was a requirement for putting up a clear guidelines as to how we can see there. Please don't unmute yourself. I'll be disabling yours once. I'll be disabling it. Okay. Okay. So going ahead, I was speaking about this 1947. I was speaking about the time where 1947, when 1947 happened, that is when India got its independence. We became republic and we became sovereign. There was a need, the most important need for the hour was implementation of a system, implementation of rules and regulations, set of rules and regulations, implementation of guidance as to how Indians will be, how Indians are supposed to behave, how Indians are supposed to live in this country, what are the freedoms they are going to enjoy, what are the rights they are going to enjoy, what are the duties they need to perform, how government has to perform, how judiciary has to perform, how executive body has to perform, who will derive the power, who will have more power, how governments will be framed, how state government will be there, how central government will be there, what is the duty of president, what is the duty of governor. If rights are denied for a common citizen, how he has to cope with it? So with respect to all these things, there was a need for answering the question. There's a need for a prominent document for which the Constituent Assembly was created. Drafting committee was there which would draft the constitution based on various countries' established constitution. It was headed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and there were many other bodies which were responsible for various parts of the constitution. And finally, a draft of constitution which the Constituent Assembly adopted on 29th of November 1949 came into force on 26th January 1950. So this constitution, whatever the document we are seeing today, that document came into force on 26th January 1950. That document came into force on 26th January 1950. Speaking about this document, this is a voluminous document which consists of various articles, just like sections in any other act. Whatever we see in different acts, we call them as sections. Here they are divided into rules and regulations, and set of principles are divided into something called as articles. To support these articles and to explain different concepts, we also have something called as schedules. So this is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. The set of rules and regulations which Constitution wants to convey is conveyed with the help of articles. So we are going to see different articles today. We are going to see different provisions of the Constitution. So going ahead, we'll be understanding how Constitution was framed and what is the declaration that Constitution gives. So Constitution mainly has three important parts. Very important parts of a Constitution are preamble. Constitution has something called as a preamble. Constitution also has something called as fundamental rights, and it has a directive of state policy. Out of which preamble is giving you the introduction as to what this document consists of. What are the privileges that an Indian, being an Indian, enjoys? How is India treated in the global platform, or maybe as a country? What is the identity of India? What is the very nature of India? What is the very characteristic of India is said to us in the preamble. That is like the introduction to India, as well as this document called as Constitution of India. So next comes the fundamental rights, the rights of the citizen. This country's people should enjoy something. Being the citizen of this country comes with its own responsibilities and its own benefits. So as a citizen, what are the benefits you are going to enjoy? Being an Indian, I and you, what are the benefits we are going to enjoy? How we should be as an Indian? That questions are going to be answered with the help of Constitution. That is called as fundamental rights. See, lawmakers are not free to make law as per their discretions. Whatever the law they want to implement, that should be for the welfare of the society at large. So for that purpose, guiding lines for them, for implementation of laws, for bringing in the laws and principles was brought into force. That is called as directive principles of state policy. So what is directive principles of state policy? Directive principles are the directions. For whom? For the state. That is why directive principles of state policy cannot be questioned in the court of law. If government has to follow it when they bring in something called as law. They have to keep in mind these points. Whereas if a fundamental rights is violated, if government is trying to violate your fundamental rights, you can go to the court of law and question the government as to why you are disturbing our fundamental rights. With respect to preambles, with respect to interpretation of preamble, there are multiple views. Some court says, or some judgment of the court says, preamble is not a part of Constitution, it is just an introductory part. Whereas some part says preamble is a mandatory part of your Constitution, and to understand the Constitution, preamble becomes very important. So based on the weightages given in the different case laws, we feel that preamble is a very important part of Constitution. To understand the Constitution, it should be understood in the lines of preamble. So going ahead straight away without wasting any other further time, because since there are a lot of topics to be covered, without wasting any more time, I want to proceed straight away to the concepts. So my discussion will be mainly based on preamble today. After preamble, I'll be discussing about this when you are Indian central government, state government, and then I'll be discussing about exclusively on fundamental rights. Fundamental duties will be briefly explained to you, and directive principles anyhow is not so important when it comes to our multiple choice perspective. As a constitution part, fundamental this directive principles are very important. But since this is a this one your more of a multiple choice area, and directive principles are not that, I'm not saying that directive principles will never be asked, but keep in mind directive principles are a set of rules and regulations. So just go through the directive principles, whatever is there in the textbook. That is a brief explanation. That's it. That doesn't require any explanation there. But those things which require very important discussions will be done in the today's class. So with that note, I hope you're all ready for this class. Yes. How is the Josh now? Are you all set? Early morning classes, you people will be like, sir, constitution, theory, law. But now, how are you? How is your mindset now? Are you all set? Shall we proceed? My dear proteins, please tell me if you're ready. Only Shraddha is telling yes. What about others? Are you all ready? I have 22 icons here. I have 22 proteins here. I want 22 responses so that I can feel you people are there in my class. Others, come on. Just give a reply there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The bag full. See, every day I'm seeing this. 22 members are there in the class, but 22 plus whatever the online members are there. Online members are replying there who are watching on YouTube, but you people are not replying here. Out of 22, yeah, 19 students who are there, at least reply here. I don't understand whether you are able to hear me or you people have some other issues there. It would be good if you reply. Okay, no problem. Going ahead to the chapter, I'll be discussing on preamble now. So, as you all know, Constitution of India came into force on January 26th, 1950. On January 26th, 1950. So that day is celebrated as what? What is the speciality of that day? It is celebrated as a Republic Day. We are going to celebrate it as a Republic Day in memory of adopting of Constitution, because on that day India became the democratic republic country. So understanding the preamble, first you have to understand who gave the Constitution to India. Right from your high school days, maybe when you studied civics, you have been repeatedly said that Ambedkar was chairman of this committee. Nehru did these things. Vallabhbhai Patel did these things. We derived our constitution from various countries. A lot of things were discussed. But as such, going with the brief bare law, going with the very base document, what is written in the document, if you understand who gave the constitution to India, it is we the people of India giving the constitution to ourselves. It is our pride. We are giving the constitution to ourselves. ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಅಂತ ರೆಕಾಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಒಪ್ಪಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತಹ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟೇ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್? We the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. We the people of India, that is what we are rating. This is we the people of India. So tomorrow, if question comes as to who gave the constitution to India or who is the person who is giving constitution, it is we the people. Constitution of India was given by the people to the people of this country. So constitution. So what constitution is giving? Constitution is giving the power to three bodies. That is your executive, your legislative, and judicial. What is executive? Executive means all your officers. Whatever you say, IAS officer, IFS officer, IPS officer, all those who are in the administration, public servants, we call them as public servants. All those who are in the implementation and administration wing, that is called as executive body or executive branch. Those derive the power from constitution. Tomorrow, if constitution is suspended, nobody will be powerful in India. So what is the most powerful document? That is why it is constitution. Legislative body, all your elected representatives, your MLAs, MPs, MLCs, whatsoever, member of Rajya Sabha, president, all these people are getting their power through constitution. It is the constitution which is giving power to all of them. And the judicial branch, of course, in judiciary, the constitution comes at the top. Court always upholds whatever the constitution has said. Court always upholds what constitution has said. Court comes in the way when constitution is misinterpreted or misinterpreted. Court comes in the way when constitution is misused, or when the provisions of constitutions are violated. So judiciary also derives its power from the same document called as constitution. So the preamble is a very important part. What does preamble say? Preamble declares India as sovereign. Sir, what do you mean by sovereign? Kannadadalli sarvabhauma anta helteve ನಾವು. What is sovereign? Sovereign means that we are independent of taking our decisions. Today, if India has to take any decisions, should it rely on America? Should it rely on England? Should it rely on China? Should it rely on Pakistan? No, India alone can take its own decision. India is an independent country. This is the main essence of independence. Sovereign, ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮ. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ರು ಯಾರ ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಂತಿಲ್ಲ. We are independent. That is what sovereign says. We are independent externally, internally. Even internally, we don't have any dictators to control us. So India is a sovereign country. India is a sovereign country, which means country is independent both internally and externally. India is a socialist country. Socialist means what? It assures justice. What type of justice? Social justice, economic justice, political justice. See, while constitution was drafted and constitution was adopted in the year 1950, the socialist concept was not there in the constitution. The socialist mentality or socialist definition for India was introduced during 42nd Amendment. During 42nd Amendment, that is during your emergency time. Then the president, then the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and then the president made these decisions to implement this. So socialist promised natural justice. What kind of justice? Social justice. That means everybody will be treated equal before the law, irrespective of their social status. All will be enjoying the provisions of the law. Everybody will be treated equal before the law. This is social justice. What about economic justice? There will be no discrimination based on your economic status. People will not be discriminated based on who is rich and who is poor. Equitable distribution of wealth will be emphasized. So this is economic justice. Political justice. India is not a country where a family is going to rule. That is what political justice is. You, me, any person who has the eligibility to contest in election can contest tomorrow, and if you win, you can rule this country. This is political justice, irrespective of your caste, irrespective of your creed, irrespective of your sex, irrespective of place of birth. If you are an Indian, if you fall within the conditions, you can easily contest and you can become a political personality. That is what political justice is all about. Secular, very controversial topic or very much discussed topic. People interpret it in different ways. But what does real secularism means? What is the essence? What does the constitution wants to say? At least what is the basic ingredient that is written in the constitution? Secular. Jatyatita anta ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ. If you want to speak in Kannada, if you explain in Kannada, we say it is Jatyatita. Jatyatita means what? We are not going to restrict ourselves to any religion. India doesn't have any religion of its own. Pakistan, if you go, they say they are Islamic country. Or here Nepal, earlier it was a Hindu based country. It was a Hindu country, but we are not that way. India is a secular country. We have people who believe in each and every religion. Actually, secular means country will have no religion. That is positive way. In a positive way of interpreting it. Secular ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು? ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಜಾತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಲೆಕ್ಕ, ಜಾತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಧರ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಲೆಕ್ಕ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಹೌ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೆಡ್? ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ತಂದೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ವೇ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ರಿಲಿಜನ್. ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಅದರದೇ ರಿಲಿಜನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ರಿಲಿಜನ್, ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. People are free to practice their own religion. This is also called as secular. So state has no religion of its own. As a country, it has no religion, but citizens are free to practice and promulgate any religion of their choice. So nimigega ನೀವು ಕ್ರಿಶ್ಚಿಯನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾ, you can be Christian. ನಿಮಗೆ ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂ ಆಗಬೇಕಾ, you can be a Muslim. If you want to be a Hindu, you can be a Hindu. If you want to be a Jews, you can be a Jews. If you want to be a Parsi, you can be a Parsi. You can, if you want to be a Buddhist, there is no restriction. Constitution ಹೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ you have to follow this one only ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುದಿಲ್ಲ. That is one more thing. Democratic republic. This is the very concept which was given by Abraham Lincoln. What did Abraham Lincoln say? Government by the people. So democratic republic here. A republic stands for absence of something called as dictatorship. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಜನರು ಯಾರನ್ನು ನಾಯಕ ಅಂತ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೋ, which leader is elected by the people, he will be ruling the country. It is not the dictator who is going to rule the country. It is not any family that is going to rule the country. It is not a dynasty here. Dynasty illa, patriarchy illa, rather it is a republic. Ganatantra. Ganatantra means what? People are going to rule this country. It is the people's vote that is going to decide who is going to rule this country. This is a republic. This is a democratic republic. Yes, sir. So these are the very essence which are to be upheld again and again. Now kuda as a citizens we have to follow this. It is not just that it is written on the constitution. Constitution namma mele ಒಂದು responsibility ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Being Indian, you have said that these are the rules for you. So it is your duty to follow it. Right? Next one. It secures all the citizens. So being a citizen of India, what are the rights or what are the privileges we are going to get? Justice. I said you again. Now sovereign ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ? Sovereign ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ we have economic justice, social justice, political justice. So justice is ensured for Indians. It may be political, it may be social, it may be economic. Any justice is served. Everybody will be treated equally before the law. Liberty. Liberty of moving from one place to another place, liberty of speaking anything, liberty of doing any business, liberty of living anywhere. This liberty you are going to enjoy being a citizen of India. It is ensured through constitution itself. Next one, equality. There will not be any discrimination in this country. There will not be a practice of untouchability. No people will be discriminated or hurt. No people's sentiments will be hurt in the name of their religion, caste, creed, or whatsoever. There will be no discrimination. There will be no discrimination among male and female. There will be no discrimination between Hindu, Muslim, Christians, or anyone. There will be no discrimination between your caste. There will be no discrimination among your social status. This is equality. Fraternity. Unity in diversity is what we call fraternity. So all these things are ensured by Constitution of India. And that is written in the preamble. So with respect to preamble, these are the very important points which you need to take care about. Going ahead, question comes as to what type of government is it? So in the world across, we have two types of governments act normally, unitary and federal. So unitary has its own set of conditions to call a country as unitary. At the same time, there are certain rules and regulations or certain practices to call a country federal. So I have picked up the important points with respect to federal form of government that relates to India. So federal form of government is the dual government. What is dual government? Dual government means two government will be present. Which end? Central government, state government. So in India, dual government is there. Central government is also there. State government is also there. They have their own powers, administration powers. So this dual government concept holds good. Distribution of power, yes. If you read Article 246, of the Constitution, Article 246 distributes the power to make law. You all know this. Article 246 and the constitution language, but in a layman language, list, state list, concurrent list, with which power is getting distributed between central government or the union list or union government, state government, and concurrent government. This is both the governments. So distribution of power is also there. It is not that only central government will be controlling. Next one, supremacy of constitution. Of course, for us, constitution is the supreme. It is not the prime minister, it is not the president. What is supreme? Constitution is supreme. If they act against the constitution, they can be thrown out with the help of constitution. So constitution is supreme to us. Next one, independence of judiciary. Judiciary is not impacted by any of this. Yes, in even in India, judiciary will not be affected due to political vendettas or political mandates, or maybe executive mandates. No law or nothing can disturb your judiciary. Judiciary goes on its own in India. So independence of judiciary. A written constitution, yes, of course, is ours is the one of the biggest constitution, which is well written. So ours is also an written constitution. So we are under federal policy. A rigid procedure for amendment of constitution. Here, amendment of constitution is not so simple. Some provisions can be easily amended, but with respect to many of the provisions, it is not simple to amend the constitution. So even with respect to this, we are following the federal policy. But difference between federal policy and Indian government is that in federal policy, what happens is when there are two governments, each government are independent to take their own decisions. But here it is not that way. With respect to some matters, consultation with center is essential for a state. So state is not sovereign here. When I say state, now state governments are not absolutely sovereign here. They have some restrictions. At the same time, dual citizenship character, which is present in federal policy, is absent in India. Sir, dual citizenship anta helidre enu ಫೆಡರಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಗುಜರಾತ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ಆ ಡ್ಯುಯಲ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ, ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೆಡರಲ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ದೇರ್, we are a federal country having some features from the unitary form of government. That is why we call ourselves as quasi-federal government. Ours is a quasi-federal. Ours is a quasi-federal form of government. Did you understand this? I hope you remember this word quasi-federal. Very important for you. Yes. Is it clear for you? Any doubts there? Do you have any doubts, everybody? Please do participate in the class. Without that, even we both of us, we can't make this session productive. So please do be participating in the class. Yes. Is it clear there? Yes. Nice. So going ahead, what is this entire constitution mentions the word called as a state. There's a word called as state in the constitution. So now normally when you come across this word, you will say this is Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh. These all be called as states. But constitution, when says about state, it means a different meaning unless something else it wants to say. ಹಾಗಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳುವಂತ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಆಂಧ್ರ ಪ್ರದೇಶ್, ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಆಗ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಆಸ್ ದಟ್ ವೇ. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್, unless otherwise provided, what do you mean by state? State in a meaning ಏನು? State means or state includes Article 12. You need to refer whether it is visible, right? It is clearly visible on screen, right? Okay. Article 12 ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ? What is Article 12 saying? Article 12 says state means and includes government and parliament of India. Central government ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೋ, ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೋ, that is called as state. Is it only that? No. Government and legislature of every state. State governments ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರಿತೇವೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತಲೇ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. Not only that, local authorities. Local authorities means what? Authorities like municipalities, district boards, panchayats, improvement trusts, port trusts, mining settlement boards. That means government ಯಾವ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದೆಯೋ, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಫಂಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ, ಯಾವ ಯಾವ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುವ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ಗಳು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ, all these things will be considered for the purpose of state. ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. So it is not only your state government, it means central government, it means state government, it means local government. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಎವರ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಯೂಸಸ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಇನ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 12 ಏನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಇನ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಲೋಕಲ್ ಮುನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಸರ್, outside the country, if government is controlling something, even that will be called as state only. That is what it says. All local and authorities under the control of government of India, everything will be called as state. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್? ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು, ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನರು ನಾನು ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇನೆ. ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ಈ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರುವ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿತೇನೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. Now we have to understand who is the person who is called as citizen of India. So citizenship ಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ there are provisions differing ranging from article 5 to article 11. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇನ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 5 ಇಂದ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 11 ತನಕ ಸಿಟಿಜನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. Please tell me, are you comfortable with Kannada? Since it is constitution, ಖಾಲಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಟ್ ಆಗಬಹುದು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಮಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟೇಬಲ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗದವರು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಡು ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ನೋ. ಓಕೆ, citizenship. Comfortable, very good. Citizenship. Who is called as an Indian? Indian citizenship ಆಗಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ can a company be called as a citizen? ಕಂಪನಿಯನ್ನು ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು ನಾನು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ? Can a company be called as citizen? Why? Because yesterday we studied, in yesterday's class we studied that company cannot be called as a citizen. It is only identified as an artificial person. That's it. It is only identified as a artificial person and its place of residence is recognized for the purpose of nationality, not for the purpose of citizenship. Domicile ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Place of residence. But India dalli hege persons, when it comes to an individual, how will you recognize whether he is an Indian or not? So right from article 5 to article 9, article 5 in the article 9 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, here they are telling us under various situations at the time of commencement of this ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಈ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ನೋ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಾಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಷನ್ಡ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಾಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಷನ್ಡ್, ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ್. Then they felt trouble there. They wanted to come back to India. From other countries also, many people came to India. Some people were not there in India, but they said their ancestors were there in India. Some people said my parents were there in India. So identification as to who is Indian and who is not Indian became very difficult at the time of independence. It was a very challenging issue which was addressed with the help of constitution. ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 5 ಇಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 9 ತನಕ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 5 ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 9 ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನಿ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಇಂಡಿಯಾಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರು ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನಿಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 5 ಟು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 9. ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 5 ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ? at the time of commencement of ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬರುವ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? ಹೂ ಆರ್ ಯು ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಆಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್? ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್. Article 5 is the answer for that. At the commencement of constitution, every person who has his domicile in India, so who has his place of residence in India, who has his place of residence, domicile, place of residence in India, yaru ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೋ, just because he has a domicile in India is not sufficient to call him as an Indian. ಅವನನ್ನು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು? his domicile should be there. So first is domicile. That means he should have stayed, or his place of stay should be in India. Plus Either he was born in India. Simple. People like me and you, we have our place of residence in India. At the same time, we are born in India. Now, India dalle born adu. So we are automatically called Indians. See, idu ಈಗಕ್ಕೆ applicable ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬಿಗಿನ್ ಆಗುವ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ the confusions ಗಳನ್ನು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ this provision. ಈಗ you are going with Citizenship Act. Of course, when you take birth in India, you will be called as an Indian. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೌಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು, ಡೊಮಿಸೈಲ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಫಾರಿನರ್ ಬಂದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಗು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಮೀನ್ he's an Indian. That will not be considered as an Indian. ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, if you go there, if you deliver a child there, that child will be recognized as that country's citizen ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡೊಮಿಸೈಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. your place of residence should be there. Plus you were born in India, or either of your parents were born in India, or you have been ordinary resident for not less than 5 years immediately preceding such commencement. ಸರ್, ನನ್ನ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಓಕೆ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ನಾನು ಕಳೆದ ವರ್ಷ ಬಂದದ್ದು ಸರ್, ಐ ಕೇಮ್ ಟು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇನ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್, ಐ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್. ಸಿ, ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಇಯರ್ 1950. 1947 ಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂತು. ಅದರ ಮುಂಚೆ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 1950 ಇಂದ 5 years ಬ್ಯಾಕ್, 1945 ಇಂದ 1950 ತನಕ ಯಾರು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರು ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಇಫ್ he is not born in India and if he has no parents who belong to India. So that means ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್, ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಕಿಯಾಗಿದ್ರು ಕೆಲವರೆಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮನ್ಸಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗಿ, ದೇ ಫೆಲ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೆಮ್. ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ತುಂಬಾ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ 5 ವರ್ಷದ ತನಕ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗದಿಂದ ರೈಟ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಕಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ 5 ವರ್ಷ ತನಕ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿದ್ರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮೆನ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಲೇಟರ್ ಇನ್ನು ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೌ ಟು ಡಿಸೈಡ್. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್. ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ದ ಪವರ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 10 ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್. ವಾಟ್ ಡಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 10 ಸೇ? ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 10 ಸೇಸ್, with respect to continuation of citizenship, with respect to rules and regulations to citizenship, the law will be made. Constitution is saying there will be a law which will govern you with respect to citizenship. Next question, you will obviously ask question, sir, Constitution is saying there will be a law. Who will make the law? Article 11 will come into picture. Article 11 says such a law will be made by Government of India. What did it say? It gives power to Parliament to regulate right of citizenship by way of legislation. Parliament means central government, union government. So union government ಗೆ ಪವರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫ್ರೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ. So because of which Citizenship Act 1955 was brought into force. Because of which Citizenship Act of 1955 was brought into force. Is that clear for you? Tell me if you are clear. If you are clear with it, I'll proceed. Yes. Super. This is about citizenship in India. Next, we will be discussing about central government, that's your parliament. And after that, we will be having about states. We will be discussing about states. So, in India, I said the form of government is something like this. So mainly the government is divided into two categories. How is it? One is central government, one is state government, or we can say parliament and state legislature. So we can also say it as parliament, state legislature. So parliament has 3 bodies. Parliament ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3 constitution bodies ಇದೆ. ಯಾವುದೆಲ್ಲ? One is office of president. One is office of president. Then one is lower house, that is your Lok Sabha. The other one is upper house called as Rajya Sabha. There is a president, there will be Lok Sabha, there will be Rajya Sabha. This is with respect to your parliament, upper houses, that is your central government. With respect to state legislature, you have something called as governor. You have something called as governor, office of governor. Then you have, in all the states, you have legislative assembly. In certain states, you also have legislative council. In certain states, you also have legislative council. So this is how administration takes place when it comes to your parliament. This is about legislature. We are speaking about legislature part. This is not executive. IAS officers ಗಳದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. I am speaking about legislature. Elected representatives ಗಳದ್ದು ಜನಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳದ್ದು ಅವರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುವಂತ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್. So for central government, we call it as parliament, with their headquarters at New Delhi, and it has the office of president. It has an office of it has Lok Sabha, it has Rajya Sabha. Similarly, coming to state government, in case of Karnataka, it is headquarters at Bangalore, that is the capital of Karnataka. There we have office of governor. Then we have Lok Sabha. And sorry, like Lok Sabha, the lower house is called as legislative assembly, and the upper house is called as at state level it is called as legislative council. Speaking about parliament, let us understand the parliament. We said there are three parts for the parliaments, and as you can see the photo, who is it? Who is he? Who is this person? What's his name? He is Sri Ramnath Kovind, who is the president of our country. So this is one position. He is currently occupying the office of president. We had different people. Right before him, we had someone called as Pratibha Patil. Even before that, Pranab Mukherjee was there. Before that, Pratibha Patil was there. Before that, Abdul Kalam was there. Before that, Narayanan was there. So like this, many people have occupied the position of president. So president is an office of president. People will come and go there. Different people will be appointed for that position. So he will be the supreme authority. So how will you select a president for India? Let us understand that. President shall be elected by the members of electoral college. So with the help of election only, president will be elected. Who will be electing? Who will be voting? Can I and you, simple common citizen of India, can we vote for president? Common citizen of India, can we vote for president? Have you ever seen your parents or someone voting for president of India? We cannot vote for president of India. It is an indirect democracy there. When it comes to president of India, it is indirect democracy. How, sir? President is elected by whom? Elected members of both the houses of parliament. So Lok Sabha ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ elected members ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೋ, they will cast the vote for president. Plus elected members of legislative assemblies of state. ನಿಮ್ಮ MLAs ಗಳಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, whom you choose as MLAs, member of legislative assemblies, they will also cast their vote for presidential election. So keep in mind, elected members matra, nominated members presidential election alli participate ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Reason being, ಅವರನ್ನು nominate ಮಾಡುವುದೇ president. ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟೇ ನಾಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರೇ ವಾಪಸ್ ಅದೇ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ವೋಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೈಟ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ, ಟು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, what constitution says, in the electoral college of president, in the electoral college for president of India, who will be participating? The elected members of both the houses of parliament and elected members of legislative assemblies will be participating in the election of president. With this, the president will be selected. With this, the president will be elected in this country. Once the president is elected, what are his powers? The power of the president comes from Article 53 of the Constitution. Article 53 ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಪವರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. Article 53 of the Constitution gives the power to President of India. So the power of President of India is called as executive power. ಹೇಗೆ ನೀವು CEO, Chief Executive Officer ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರೋ, the executive power of this country is vested with the President of India. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಚರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಿ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಹೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. He is the supreme head for everything. Sir, whether it is ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಹಾಗೆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ? No. In India it is not that way. Even though the power rests with president, there are some restrictions given under constitution. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾರೆ. Whenever you see in this country, it is not that ಈಗ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. I'm not speaking from the political perspective. I'm speaking from the factual perspective. Right from the beginning, in India, if you ask me, Prime Minister is more powerful. But what Constitution says is President is more supreme. Decisions agbekare yaar supreme? President is supreme. So he should work under guidance of Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. He should take the advices from the Prime Minister and members of, ministers, members of Council of Ministers. So what are his powers? His power is called as executive power. That executive power consists of administrative power, execution of law and administration. Countryಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲಾ ತರಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟಿನ ಸಿಗ್ನೇಚರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟರಿ. President has to sign it. He can also question when law and order is under disruption in this country. ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಸತಿ ರಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಬಿದ್ದೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಆಗ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ರೂಲ್. ಯು ಮೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ದಿಸ್. ಕೆಲವು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗಳು ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಸರಿ ನಡೆಸುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಗ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆಟೋಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕಲಿ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಪವರ್ ಯಾರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ? ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಗಳ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಫೇಲ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್, President can take over. If they fail to do the justice, President can take over. Next is military. We have forces. Yaudella. All the forces, Navy, Army, and your Air Force. ಈ ಮೂರು armed forces ಗಳ chief person ಯಾರು? Who is the head? It is President of India. The commander in chief is the President of India. Next one. Legislative. So even though you people are electing the legislators, ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ MLA ಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಮ್ಮ MP ಗಳನ್ನು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಲೋಕಸಭೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಡ್ಜರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕರೆದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ, or addressing them, giving a talk to them, everything rests with the President of India. That is legislative power of President of India. And last one, judicial power of President of India. What is judicial power? Judicial power ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, now Supreme Court gives its decision finally. Supreme Court ಒಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಮರಣ ದಂಡನೆ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. That is hanging till death. ಇಲ್ಲ imprisonment till death, ಜೀವಾವಧಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Now some people ask for mercy. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೆಸಾರ್ಟ್. ಈಗ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಮರಣ ದಂಡನೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಡೆತ್ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೆ, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ನಾಕ್ ದ ಡೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇ, ಸರ್, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ has given this decision. Now I don't have any other option left. So please pardon me. Please give me an excuse and rescue me from this. President has the right either to grant the pardon or to cancel it or to reject it. It is left with the president. If you see Pranab Mukherjee, during his time, there were many hanging cases which had a plea for pardon and he rejected it. And many persons were hanged during his tenure. So that is the exclusive power that rests with the president. No other person. So tomorrow, if you are sentenced to any hanging, but if any person is sentenced to hanging, he cannot appeal Prime Minister of India. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಅವನ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕ್ಲೋಸೇ ಇರಲಿ, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಆದ ನಂತರ ನಿಮಗಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್, ಇಫ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಸೇಸ್ yes, then fine. No, you will not be pardoned, you will be punished as per the rules. These are the powers that rests with the President of India. One more special power he has, that is called as power to promulgate ordinance. That comes from Article 123. Power to promulgate ordinance. See, parliaments will meet will join for sessions maybe once or twice or thrice in a year. So when they meet, they will discuss lot of policies, they will discuss lot of things, they will bring in new laws, they will bring in new acts and all. But it is not possible that every time they will be meeting. ಪ್ರತಿ ಸತಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. There will be some emergency situations or there is some need of hour. At that time what happens is ordinances will be passed. ಸುಗ್ರೀವಾಜ್ಞೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೇವೆ. Ordinances. These ordinances will be passed by whom? President of India. That means normally law ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು law ಆಗುದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it will be discussed in the parliament. A bill will be introduced. That bill will be discussed in the parliament. If it will be put into vote, once it is approved, it will be transferred to upper house. There again discussion will happen. There it will be put into vote. Once it is approved, it goes to President of India. He will read it, then he will sign it. If he has any question, he may reject or else he may sign it. Once he signs, it gets published in the official gazette, and only then it will be called as law. But in case of emergency, in case of such a grave situation, or in case of government feels that it is essential, aga prime minister matte council of ministers na advice alli president can pass something called as ordinance. Ordinance means sugrivadne. It is a master law which is implemented or brought into force by President of India. Now it is very easy that President of India will bring into force, but there is condition. Within 6 months parliament should meet. Once within 6 months parliament will meet, there within 6 weeks of commencement of parliament, within 6 weeks of commencement of parliament, what should be done? The act should be approved. If act is not approved, the act becomes void. The ordinance which is passed by the president becomes void. So within 6 months it has to be parliament session has to be called. Once parliament session is called, within 6 weeks the law has to be implemented. You saw this APMC Act and different farmer bills which were introduced. Those were ordinances. Those are first passed as ordinances, and now it got approval from the parliament. Now in this session it got approval from the parliament. So this is what your ordinance is all about under Article 123. So when I say president, please keep in mind same powers are there for governor also, except with respect to military power. Governor doesn't have military power. Other than that, when it comes to state government is as powerful as President of India. Government is as powerful as President of India. Government is as powerful as President of India. Are you getting it? Do you have any doubts there? Yes, we spoke about exclusively. This one sheet covers entire thing about president now. Within these 3 charts we are having. So why I have prepared charts, sir? Charts are very easy way to understand things. So ee ondu sheet ತಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಡಿ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟಿನ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. I want you to, ನಾನು ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ತರ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. For that purpose, to explain the concepts, I have made this. So ಈಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಒಂದು ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಬಂದಾಯ್ತು. You need not take the textbook again, read it again. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಯ್ತು. This is how you are going to study smartly. ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು, ಒಂದು ಸತಿ ಓದುವಾಗಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಡುವಂತ. This is not some ready-made document. This is prepared out from your textbook only. It is prepared, and this will give a clarity for you. This will give a further clarity for you. I will see if I can share the same document to you once the class this after the end of your CS this one legal aptitude classes. By the end of 5th day, we'll be I'll make arrangements so that this will be circulated to all of you, so that it will be helpful for you, right? Yes or no? Do you feel this helpful now? Whatever I'm showing, do you feel it is helpful? Yes. So let us see if we can arrange to send the same document to you. Okay. Yes. So going ahead. Now let us speak about Lok Sabha. I said there are 2 houses for the parliament. There are 2 houses for the parliament. Which are they? One is Lok Sabha and one is Rajya Sabha. That is called as lower house and upper house. House of people, Lok stands for people. Hindi alli lok anta helidre enu people anta lekka. So house of people, janagala mane. That means why that name comes, because those are elected people who are selected by the people themselves. You call them as member of parliament. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಯೆನ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ is a member of parliament, Rahul Gandhi is a member of parliament, or take this one, who is there, Nalin Kumar Katil is a member of parliament, Pratap Simha is, Tejasvi Surya is member of parliament. So all these people are member of parliaments. Member of parliament. They are elected by the people. They are directly elected by the people. They are the representatives who are sitting in the Lok Sabha, who are sitting in the Lok Sabha. So how this Lok Sabha is formulated? How does this look? Lok Sabha, House of People. This is the structure of our parliament. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are inside this. That is why that picture is there. This is how. If you go to New Delhi, you can see the structure there. You can see this structure. You can see the Supreme Court. Everything, whatever you see, everything is there at that place, right? So how is Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha consists of representatives directly chosen by election through adult suffrage. What is this adult suffrage? Adult suffrage is what you say, right to vote. Every person who has attained the age of majority, that is attained the age of 18 here in India, irrespective of your caste, creed, sex or whatsoever, place of birth or whatsoever, you have the right to vote. That is called as adult suffrage. That is called as adult suffrage. So what is the maximum strength of our Lok Sabha? Maximum strength of the Lok Sabha is 552. So this 552, 552 is further divided. Two Anglo-Indian representatives appointed members ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವರು ಎರಡು ಆಂಗ್ಲೋ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರು? ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ಸ್. ಅದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ದಟ್ 550 members are elected representatives. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 530 are from states and 20 are from union territories. 550 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 530 are from states, balance 20 are from union territories, different union territories. So ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್? ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಸೊ ಇಡೀ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯನ್ನು, entire country, we saw our country here, right? This entire country of ours will be divided into 553 parts, sorry, 550 parts based on the density of population. 550 parts ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಂಗ್ಳೂರನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮೈಸೂರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಮೈಸೂರು ಕೂರ್ಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಸರಗೋಡು ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಾರಣಾಸಿ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇದೆ, ವಾರಣಾಸಿ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಟೆರಿಟರಿ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಸಬ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಹೌ ಮಚ್? ಅರೌಂಡ್ 32, ರೈಟ್? 32, yes, 32 Lok Sabha seats are there for Karnataka. Like this, for every state there will be different seats. So maximum strength is 552, but the current strength is 543. And one more thing is that two Anglo-Indian representative ಯಾವ್ದಿದೆಯೋ ಅದನ್ನು January 2020 ಅಲ್ಲಿ, this year 25th January 2020 ಗೆ ತೆಗೆದಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It has been removed from the constitution. On 25th January 2022 important amendments were done to the constitution. Amendment ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ changes to the constitution. Two important changes were done. One was removal of this Anglo-Indian reservation. Anglo-Indian reservation nomination ಅನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It has been seized. So as of now the maximum strength is 550. ಯಾಕೆ 552 ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಸರ್ even after that? Because the textbook says 552. So to avoid confusion I have written it as 552. But please keep this current affair in mind. 552 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 Anglo-Indian members ಯಾರಿದಾರೋ ಆ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ that has been repealed by the this one government. Second one is extension of reservation. Caste based reservation, backward classes ಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವೋ ಆ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನು further 10 years ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. It was actually supposed to come to an end in 2020 because it said 75 years of independence, ಹೇಳಿತ್ತು. So now they have extended to 10 more years. Okay, next one, seats are distributed based on population. So people will be voting. MP vote ಇರ್ತದೆ, ನಿಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ vote ಇರ್ತದೆ. Once you get the eligibility to vote, you will also have the vote. You will be casting the vote to your local member of parliament, and he will be going and representing your constituency there. This is Lok Sabha. This is Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha's tenure is 5 years. After every 5 years, what happens is the Lok Sabha will be dissolved. Lok Sabha will be dissolved. Again, election will happen. Lok Sabha will be constituted. New Lok Sabha will be constituted. So here in Lok Sabha, whichever party or whichever group of parties gain majority will be framing the government. They will be framing the government. They will be called as ruling party. Those group of people who are not a part of ruling party are called as opposition party. They are called as opposition party. This ruling party or the party in power or the opposition party, both will have 5 years only, maximum 5 years. Maximum 5 years. Yake sir, ಕೆಲವು ಸತಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ government will lose the confidence. At that time, government will be dissolved even before the tenure of 5 years. So this point you have to keep in mind. Next one is Rajya Sabha, Council of States. So this way is normally said as House of Seniors, House of Intellectuals. See, one more thing, Rajya Sabha hege anta helidre, Rajya Sabha is more of elected representatives only. Rajya Sabha ge kuda election aguvanthaddu, Rajya Sabha ge kuda election ಆಗ್ತದೆ, but this consists of people who are not actively into politics. ನಿಮ್ಮ active politics ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, but the general assumption is that they are not actually into actual politics, but they are coming from different expertised fields. So for that purpose only, in Rajya Sabha there is a reservation of 12 seats who will be appointed exclusively by the President of India. What happened to this? Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. I was speaking about Rajya Sabha. So total number of seats in Rajya Sabha, maximum number of seats in Rajya Sabha is 292. 292. So out of 292, 12 members are directly nominated by President. These people are from different field of expertise. Examples are Sachin Tendulkar, film actress Rekha. They are the examples for people who are getting nominated by President of India. It may be they might be a field expert in literature, they might be a field expert in sports, they might be a field expert in different areas of art forms. They will be nominated by President of India. 12 such seats will be there. So have some, if you are very curious, go and search who are these 12 members who are currently there in the Rajya Sabha. They are members of Rajya Sabha. So this is one more interesting thing about Rajya Sabha. So allocation of seat happens how it is not like a population based or something like that. It is based on 4th schedule of Constitution. Representatives of states shall be elected by elected representatives. Even here it is not direct election, it is indirect election. They are elected by elected representatives. So ಹೇಗಾಗ್ತದೆ, ನೀವು MLA select ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, that MLA will be electing the member of Rajya Sabha. Member of Lok Sabha ಆಗಲ್ಲ, you will be electing. Member of Rajya Sabha elected through elected representatives. So for union territories, it is decided by law from time to time. How to select the Rajya Sabha member from union territories? There are different laws for that. Based on that, it is selected. Then another one part of Parliament, one more important part of Parliament is Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers is nothing but group of ministers which is headed by Prime Minister of India. They are actually carrying out the responsibility of various ministry. They are going to carry out the responsibility of various ministry and thereby facilitating the administration of this country. So they are also they are also elected representatives whom either might be from Lok Sabha or might be from Rajya Sabha. They will be formulated into one group and they will be appointed as Prime Minister and nominated as ministers by President of India. So how this happens is, I'll just tell you the practical procedure so that you will understand the theoretical part easily. So once election is over, people will be selected for Lok Sabha. There the party with majority frames the government. Then their members will also be there in Rajya Sabha also. So now what this party who has won, what it does is it declares one person as their head that person will be taking charge of President of India, sorry, Prime Minister of India. That person will go to the President of India and say, see, I want to frame the government with such and such people, so please give me the permission. President will give the permission to them, and President will tell that this person will be henceforth the Prime Minister. He will dictate the oath to the Prime Minister, and hence Prime Minister will be appointed. Once Prime Minister is appointed, Prime Minister will give the list of ministers to President, and Prime Minister says, sir, I want to appoint these people as ministers in my cabinet. So what President does, President also appoints them on the recommendation of Prime Minister as ministers. So this bunch of people who are going to administer in various ministry should not exceed 15% of total members of Lok Sabha. Keep in mind, 15% of total strength of Lok Sabha kinta jasti hoguwagilla, including Prime Minister. So if total strength of Lok Sabha is 550 into 15% should not exceed more than that. It should not exceed more than that. 1 second, give me 1 second. Hello, yeah. Is it clear? Am I audible now? Yes, super. Okay, so I was speaking about Council of Ministers. So now you get an idea. Hege government ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ, majority party win ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So if you see the central government, we have two group of people normally. ಇಲ್ಲ two ಇಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. We have something called as National Democratic Alliance, NDA. Another one, UPA is also there. So ಮುಂಚೆ UPA government ಇತ್ತು, ಅವರ group of people ಗೆ majority ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, they appointed Manmohan Singh as head of their alliance. Now Manmohan Singh went to the president. Manmohan Singh said, I want to frame the government. President gave his consent and president appointed him as prime minister. After that, Manmohan Singh gave a list of people and he appointed different people as ministers. He appointed different people as ministers. Same thing happened. Even now, Narendra Modi was appointed as chief of the group of people who have won majority. Then he went to the president. He took the prime ministership, then he said these people. Even now, if the cabinet is to be extended, if new ministers are to be appointed, what they will do, they will give the list to the president approves, and then cabinet extension will happen. Are you able to understand this? Yes, super. So this is all about your what to say, parliament. I was speaking about parliament. This is all about your parliament. Next, coming to state government, constitution of state legislature. Constitution of legislature in state. You can see the structure of Vidhan Sabha. Karnataka's legislature is nothing but your Vidhan Sabha. Vidhan Sabha is the Karnataka's. Vidhan Saudha is the place. Vidhan Saudha is the place where both the houses are there in India, in Karnataka. So, constitution of state legislature, how it works, let us understand. So, state alli already naniga explain madidena aga, I explained you, right? That was explained, right? Yeah, here it is. State legislature, there will be a governor. In all the states there will be something called as Vidhan Sabha. Vidhan Sabha anta ondide. See, Vidhana Saudha bere. Vidhana Saudha is the place. Vidhana Sabha means legislative assembly. Vidhana Parishat means legislative council. Vidhana Parishat anta helidre legislative council. Legislative assembly anta helidre enu Vidhana Sabha. Vidhana Sabha, member of legislative assembly. Member of legislative assembly. Shasakaru, MLA. MLA means what? Member of legislative assembly. Yes. Their legislation is done. Legislation means act. Enactments. That is why it is called as legislative assembly. So coming to the state legislature. So in case of state legislature, what happens is, among these 8 states, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which are the 8 states? Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh. So how will you remember this? This is in alphabetical order here. Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh. A, B, M, K T U. So if you can form any phonetics, you can just form it. Otherwise, you can just remember these only 8 states are there. Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Uttar Pradesh. For these much states, they have 2 houses in state level. At state level, they have 2 houses. One is Legislative Assembly, one is Legislative Council. Other than this, all other states have only Legislative Assembly. Only one house is there, Legislative Assembly. So what is Legislative Assembly? Legislative Assembly is the place of administration for state government, less like your central government. So before going to Legislative Assembly, let us go to governor. So you can see here, Governor of Karnataka. I have just given his image for representation purpose, so that you will have a clear idea, or you can remember at least. So who is he? Who is Governor of Karnataka? What's his name? Very good. Shri Vajubhai Rudhawala. So this guy is the governor of this person is the governor of Karnataka. So regarding governor is nothing but president of the state. I can say president of the state minus military power. President giruva executive power ellavu kuda governor ide. Whatever the executive power president enjoys, same powers even the governor has. Only thing is he doesn't have military power, because military is of countries. Military should come in countries' interest. State governments cannot. See, every state will have one governor. Prati governor you kuda military administration kotre hege agbodu. It is impossible. It is practically not possible. That is why military powers are not there. Other than military powers, all other powers that a president enjoys, governor will enjoy at state level. Governor will enjoy at state level. He is vested with executive power of state. You know what is executive power? Administrative power, judicial power, administrative power, judicial power, executive power. Sorry, administrative power, judicial power, and which is the other one? Legislative power. Legislative power. Two power kuda unique irtade. Power, super power, that is with president and governor. Which is the super power that is with president and governor? Are you there, everybody in the class? Can you hear me? Or is it like I am alone? I am speaking on my own. Ordinance. I just said the answer. Again, you are saying the different things. Executive power. President is called as power star because they have executive power. President and governor have something called as executive power. Executive power ella bantu nimdu. Legislative power, administrative power, judicial power, military power. Everything covered under executive power. So president derives the executive power from under which article? President derives the executive power from which article? Article 123 Allah. Article 53. Article 123 is power of ordinance. See, articles basis questions keltare. Be careful. Article based questions keltare. So be careful with the articles. That is why such articles are highlighted here. Adakke ella article annu dump madilla. Kelavu important articles annu matra kottidene. Executive power of president comes from Article 53. Article 123 is power of ordinance. See, I can see one thing among you. Nimali ondu part, I am getting an idea of it. You people know the concepts. You people know what is to be done in the examination. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಿಪರೇಷನ್ ವೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಥರೋ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಥರೋ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಥರೋ, ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ putting efforts to become thorough with the provisions. Since it is multiple choice, see description answers ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು thorough ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ ನಡೀತದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಫೈನ್, ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಫೈನ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ this is not that way. Since you are going to appear for multiple choice question, you should be precise with thoughts. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. You don't have time. Only 120 minutes are there for you. So ಆ 120 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು, all the subjects you need to cover up. Hagiruvaga, you need to take care about all these things. You should be more and more clear of the concepts. Adakoskara ee rapid revision alli adastu crisp areas galannu kodta idene nanu. That is the main intention. I am not, see, class ಮಾಡುವಾಗ in detail ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು, because that time you need to understand the concepts. ಈಗ ಹಾಗಲ್ಲ. Now this is not the way. Now you have to understand the concepts, and more than understanding the concepts, you should remember what is important and what is not. You should identify what is important and what is not. That effort is what we are putting again and again. So hagagi start becoming thorough, start becoming more and more thorough. And one more request is, I should have said this in very beginning, but I forgot to say because of this classes are going on very urgently, so I forgot to tell. You should come prepared for the class. So tomorrow, if I'm going to take something different, you have to come prepared for the class. So for tomorrow's class, I want you to come prepared for Contract Act. Only that and tort are left for us now. So for tomorrow's class, you should become prepared for Contract Act entirely, because whenever I ask questions or whenever I speak something, you should connect at least. Sumne blank agi kutkondu class nodidre it is of no use. Crash course anta helidre enu, it is assumed that you already studied and we are revising it again and again. Revision is total give and take. Of course, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಗಿವ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಲಿಸನ್. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಯು ಸ್ಟಡಿ. ಈ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ತೋರಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಈ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ, ರೀಸನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಮೋಟಿವೇಟ್ ಯು ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ನೋಟ್ಸ್. ಸರ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾವು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಫೈನ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗುಡ್. ಫೈನ್ ಟ್ಯೂನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ನೆವರ್ ಎಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ನೆವರ್ ಎಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಏಮ್ ಏನಿರಬೇಕು, ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ನ ಮುಂಚಿನ ದಿನ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆಯಾ, ವೆದರ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. ಆ ಪ್ರಿಪರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಎನಿವೇರ್. ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಇಡೀ ದಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅಗೇನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೈಮ್. ದಿಸ್ 1 month ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಈ ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳನ್ನು ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಕೇಕ್ ವಾಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೆಲವು ಇಂಥ ಟ್ರಿಕಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಗಳು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ನಾನು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್, ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೇನಲ್ಲ, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್, ಬಿಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಟಾಪಿಕ್. ಎಸ್. ಸೊ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್, ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. Article 53 gives the power. Article 53 gives the executive power to the president. Article 53 gives the executive power. Article 53. Article 123. 1 second. Okay, so Article 53 gives the executive power to the President of India. So Article 53 executive power. Article 123. Article 123 gives power of ordinance to President. Article 213. See again, combination of same numbers. Article 213 gives the power of ordinance to Governor. Article 213 gives the power of Article 213 gives the power of ordinance to Governor. So Article 53 executive power of President. Article 123 power of ordinance of President. Article 213 power of ordinance of Governor. Power of ordinance of Governor. So Next one, except military, he has all the power like President of India. Is appointed by President. See, governor is not elected. President is elected, but governor is not elected. He is appointed by the President of India. He is nominated by the President of India. So every state should have one president, now one governor. Every state should have one governor. It is not compulsory that one person can be governor of only one state. One person can have responsibility of governor for many states, more than one states. But every state should have a governor. Every state will have a governor. The next. So when ordinances are passed, ordinanceಗಳನ್ನು ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ governor should take care that it will not overlaps the decisions taken by the president or of central government. President approve ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಲಾಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ಬರುವಂತ ಆರ್ಡಿನೆನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಡಿನೆನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಬರದ ಹಾಗೆ ಗವರ್ನರ್ should take care. If at all it is overlapping the decision of president, then governor should take the suggestions from president before passing an ordinance. Governor should take the permission of president before passing the ordinance. So in certain cases, governor cannot promulgate ordinance without the instruction of president. So what happens? Once ordinance is passed, state legislature should meet, legislative assembly should meet within 6 months. Once it meets within 6 weeks, it has to be passed in the parliament, passed in the legislature, or else what will happen? It will become null and void. It will become null and void. Now, what is legislative assembly? Legislative assembly consists just like your lower house, Lok Sabha. This is at state level. You call it as Vidhan Sabha. You call this as Vidhan Sabha. Vidhan Sabha consists of minimum 60 members. Minimum 60 members, maximum 500 members. So maximum number of members in a Vidhan Sabha cannot exceed 500. Okay. Different states will have their own numbers, but minimum should be 60, maximum should be 500. Members directly elected by the people. Here members are directly elected by the people. Tenure is for 5 years. Once 5 years gets over, it will be dissolved, just like your central government. Here all procedures of central government will be there. Observe carefully. State government ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಅವರು ಇದು ಚೀಫ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೀಫ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅನ್ನಿಗೆ ಓತ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ಚೀಫ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟೆಡ್, he will give the list of ministers. Then he will give the oath for those ministers also. Council of ministers ಇರ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ. Same thing which is there in central government, also there in state government also. Legislative council, ವಿಧಾನ ಪರಿಷತ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರಿತೇವೋ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ total number of seats shall not exceed 1/3 of the total number of legislative assembly. Legislative assembly total strength ಏನಿದೆಯೋ, if the legislative assembly's strength is 60, 1/3 of 60, 20 should be the minimum number of members in legislative council. Alla, maximum number, but it cannot be less than 40. So bare minimum 40 members are essential. 40 members compulsory. ಈ 8 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಟಿವ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಇರೋದು. ಈ 8 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 40 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ. 40 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸೀಡ್ 1/3 ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಟಿವ್ ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಯ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇನ 1/3 ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿಯ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇನ 1/3 ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. So this is all about state government, that is constitution of state legislature. Is that clear for you? Next very important and very interesting area, that is fundamental rights, we are going to see. Before that, is it clear whatever I discussed with respect to state government? Is it clear for you? Everybody, I want each one of you to respond. I want each one of you to participate in the class now. Yes, I hope it is going fine with you. Shall I proceed? Only 3 or 4 members are answering from that time. I am observing clearly. I don't know, your participation is very less. Okay, great. Hope it is clear. Shall I proceed? Next is your very important area, that is fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. A right which is given by the constitution. You said constitution is giving in preamble justice, liberty, fraternity, equality. What are those principles which preamble promised are implemented with the help of fundamental rights? These are the rights which are enjoyed by each and every citizen of this country. ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಕೇಸಸ್ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ they will enjoy something called as fundamental rights. These are the basic rights which are enjoyed by every citizen of this country. So liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and opportunity, fraternity of assuring the dignity of individuals. These are the guiding principles of fundamental rights. If you remember this line, entire fundamental rights is over. Funda of fundamental rights is over. So tell me, which are the different fundamental rights? Right to equality, right to freedom, right to life and personal liberty, right to education, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right of remedy, right to constitutional remedies. 7 fundamental rights. Can you please repeat what are the fundamental rights available to every citizen? Right to equality, right to freedom, right to life and personal liberty, right to education, right against exploitation, right to practice, right to freedom of religion, constitutional remedy, right to constitutional remedy. 7 fundamental rights. Right to property was once a fundamental right, but it was removed. It was removed from the constitution as fundamental right, and it was introduced as a legal right. ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನು ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಓನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಓನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇತ್ತು. ದಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ರಿಪೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ನೌ. So they may ask this in the multiple choice question. So please be careful about this. Right to property is not a fundamental right anymore. It is just a legal right. It is just a legal right. So fundamental right anta helidre no matter what it has to be implemented. But legal right hagalla. Legal right may be or may not be. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ legal provisions ಗಳ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು. So let us understand Article 13, rules of interpretation. Article 13 is also very important when it comes to fundamental rights. Of course, fundamental starts from Article 14. But Article 13 is very important for us. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ Article 13 ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬರುವಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇರುವ ಲಾಸ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬಂದಾದ ನಂತರ ಬಂದ ಲಾಸ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. In case of these laws, if there is any violation of fundamental rights, what should be done? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತರುವ ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಒಪೋಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ what are you supposed to do, or what is the implication, is what Article 13 says. Rules of interpretation. What does it say? With respect to existing laws, this is laws existing before constitution. So ಇದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ applicable? 26th January 1950 ಗಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತೋ, for them this is applicable. That is clause 1. Clause 2 is applicable to all the acts that has been brought into force after this date. So 26/1/1950 is the point, center point. ಅದರ ಆಚೆದಕ್ಕೆ clause 1, ಅದರ ಈಚೆದಕ್ಕೆ clause 2. ಆಚೆದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ previous one, ಹೊಸತಕ್ಕೆ clause 2. So what does it say? Existing laws. With respect to existing laws, at the commencement of the constitution, laws are void to the extent of which they are inconsistent with the fundamental rights. Any law, any provision of the law which is inconsistent with the fundamental rights is void and null. That means that law has no effect at all. I'm not saying entire act ಗೆ effect ಇಲ್ಲ, a provision ಗೆ effect ಇಲ್ಲ. A provision is null and void. No. So tomorrow government makes a rule saying that, tomorrow government will bring a law saying that in this country after 8 o'clock, without any proper reason government rules ತಂದ್ರೆ straight away it is violating your fundamental rights. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ law ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮಹತ್ವ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, implication ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. This is what Article 13 says. With respect to those laws which are existing before constitution, if at all anything is inconsistent with the constitutional provision, fundamental rights, then it will not be effective. It will be null and void. With respect to those provisions, which those acts which are brought into force after the implementation of constitution, after the constitution being in force, if the states first thing is, states shall not make any law which takes away the fundamental rights given in part 3. If such law is made, it shall be void to the extent it is inconsistent. First of all, state ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. State ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it is void to the extent it is inconsistent. It is void to the extent it is inconsistent. Next one, going straight away into the fundamental right, a right to equality, very important, right? What is it saying? The state shall not deny any person equality before the law or equal protection of the law. So you want to go to the court of law. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ actually right to equality ಅಲ್ಲಿ there are 1 2 3 4 5 important points. First one is equality before the law. So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? What does it say? Government will not deny, the state, this country will not deny any person. Any person means he might be women, he might be man, he might be child, he might be born in Puttur, he might be born in Mangalore, he might be Hindu, he might be Christian, he might be Muslim, he might be white, he might be red, he might be gray, or he might be black, whatsoever it is, irrespective of caste, creed, sex, place of birth, or whatsoever, a person will not be denied justice. A person will be treated equally before the law. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾಳೆ ಅಂಬಾನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಬಾನಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ನೋಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಲಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲಾ. ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಲಾ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಲಾ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಾವಿನ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಟ್ರೀಟೆಡ್ ಈಕ್ವಲಿ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಲಾ. ಇದು ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಈಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಲಿಜನ್, ರೇಸ್, ಕಾಸ್ಟ್, ಸೆಕ್ಸ್, ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬರ್ತ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 15. ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 16, equal opportunity in the matters of public employment. Sir, what about reservation? See, reservation is actually done for upliftment of a class of people, maybe economically backward or maybe socially backward. ಆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಪ್ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ರಿಸರ್ವೇಶನ್ ತಂದದ್ದು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವಯೋಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 16. ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿದೆ. ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 16 ಅನ್ನು ಓದುವಾಗ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ರೊವಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಶಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಕೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವಯೋಲೇಷನ್. ಬಟ್ in toto, what does it mean? There should be equal opportunity. This job is only for male, this job is only for female, this job is only for this caste, this job is only for this caste. ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. or at the same time public employment ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ that should be equal. ಅವ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಇವಳು ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವಳಿಗೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ, ಆತರ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. This is what right to equality is all about. Abolition of untouchability. Yeah, of course our generation have not witnessed it too much. You can see if you go thorough and if you search it, obviously. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಏನೋ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಯಾರೋ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್, she belonged to some caste and they made her to sit down on the floor. Constitution ಬಂದು ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಈಗ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ we have spent 1950 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದದ್ದು, ಈಗ 2020 70 years ಆಗಿದೆ. Even after that, the principles of constitution which constitution we ourselves promised are not implemented in many places. Reason is very simple: we are not aware of law, we are not aware of our legal responsibilities. Legal rights or legal responsibility. Now rights aguvaga bega barteve, responsibilities galuvaga we go back. That is the main problem. Abolition of untouchability is a social evil. Actually, untouchability is a social evil, and there are people who have suffered from it. There are people who have suffered from it. There are people who are still suffering. But constitution says under article it is prohibited, it is abolished, and it is offense. If you practice untouchability, it is an offense. It is punishable offense. Last one is abolition of titles. Why this is important? When Britishers left India, they had given these titles to some class of people. Maybe zamindars, they called them as Rao Bahadur, or maybe Sir, or maybe there are different titles which people used to use. ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಈ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಇರುವವ ಈ ಲೆವೆಲ್ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಈ ಟೈಟಲ್ ಇರುವವ ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಿಂಗಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು, ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೆಂಟಾಲಿಟಿ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಡಿಡ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸೇ? ದೇರ್ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಎನಿ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್ other than your educational one or other than those conferred by the government. ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್, CA, CS ಈ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಎನಿ ಟೈಟಲ್ಸ್. ಸರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀ, ಪದ್ಮಭೂಷಣ್, ಪದ್ಮಭೂಷಣ್? ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 18 ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಹೆಸರಿನ ಮುಂದೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Because Article 18 says abolition of titles. It is just a award for you. You have to keep it. ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ಹಾಕಿ ತಿರುಗಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ. But for people it is a show off. For people it is a show off. That is what we are saying. Constitution ಓದ್ತೇವೆ, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪುವರ್ ಇನ್ ಸಮ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ಕೆಲವು ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಬೇಗ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಬೊಬ್ಬೆ ಹೊಡಿತೇವೆ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲಿ. ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್, ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್. ಇಫ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೇಸ್ no, you can't say that, people will start shouting right to speak, right to speak, right to speech. Freedom to speech ಏಮ ವೈಲೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ when it comes to equality, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. that is one grave thing which is happening. It is not that it is very negative, but educated people ಇನ್ನೂ ಅದನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಒಂದು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ. That is what I feel. Okay, right to equality has those points, 5 important points discussed. Next, coming to right to freedom, which we enjoy always. Freedom except in the class. Yes sir, correct? Except in the class we enjoy all type of freedom sir. Illa sir, ಮನೆಯವರು ಬಿಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. What freedom sir? Are you enjoying freedom actually? I am asking you. Yes sir ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಸುಳ್ಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಜಾಗ್ರತೆ. Do you enjoy freedom? Arey yaar, please participate. Ruchita is saying no sir, absolutely we don't enjoy sir. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ, ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ ಮನೆಯವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಸಂಜೆ ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ರಾತ್ರಿ ಮಲಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೋ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಸರ್. ವೆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಸರ್? Agreed. Only to some more years, hopefully you will get freedom once you stand on your, once you become responsible, more responsible. See, everybody is responsible up to their age. ಅವರವರ ಏಜ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ವೆಲ್ ವಿಷರ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಸಮ್ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಯು. ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ನಾಳೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಪದ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ನಂಗೆ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಲಾ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಫ್ರೀ. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ಸ್? ನೋ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ಸ್. ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್, ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗುವ ಮಾತಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಆರ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಸರ್ ನಂಗೆ ಅವ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಹೋಗಿ ಹೇಳಿ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಯು ದ ರೈಟ್. ಸರ್ ನಂಗೆ ಆ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್. ಸರ್ ನಂಗೊಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್. ಸರ್ ನಂಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ನೋ ಬಡಿ ಇಸ್ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಯು. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಯು ದ ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಪವರ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕೆಲವು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವು ಪೀಪಲ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್, ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್. ಅತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೆಲವೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಳಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. But other than that, this is an absolute freedom which is to be enjoyed by each and every person. Next one, right to assemble, freedom to assemble peacefully and without any arms. Sir, constitution is giving me right to assemble at any place. Gun tekondo, talwar tekondo, machu tekondo hogtene. No. You should not carry any arms. Without any arms, you can assemble at any place. No problem. Unless there is restriction by the government. ಸೊ ಈ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಓದುವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಒನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕೀಪ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್. ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಲ್ಯೂಟ್, ದೇ ಕಮ್ ವಿತ್ ಸಮ್ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ದೋಸ್ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫಾರ್ ವೆಲ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಎಟ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್. ಆಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ವರ್ಕ್ಔಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈಗ ಜೋರೊಂದು ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ನ್ಯೂಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as 144. ಆಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಸೆಂಬಲ್ ಪೀಸ್ಫುಲಿ, ನನಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಜೆನ್ಯೂನ್ ರೀಸನ್ there is a restriction on your freedom. Next one, Form associations or unions. You can form associations, partnership form of business ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಕ್ಲಬ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, anything you can do. Legal business ಮಾಡಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ, legal things you have to do. Move freely throughout the territory of India. You can go through and for any place. Sir, COVID, sir, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. See, I said you, restriction is for specific purpose. ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರೆ you are free to move any place in India. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗಿ, ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. Reside and settle in any part of territory of India. Sir, by birth I am from Udupi, but I am residing at Pune. No problem. Constitution is giving you right. Sir, I want to go to this one, Haridwar, and I want to reside there. I want to leave everything and go to Haridwar and reside. No problem. Even Haridwar is in India. Until and unless Haridwar is in India, definitely you have the right. Practice any profession or carry on any occupation, trade or business. It is not that ಈ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಇದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಆ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅವನ ಮಗ ಇದೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇವಳು ಇದೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, this caste should do only this thing, this creed should do only this thing, this sex should do only this thing. ಆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ. Anybody can practice any profession, anybody can do any business, anybody can take up any trade. These are the fundamental freedom given to you by the Constitution under Article 19 to Article 22. One more thing you have to understand, these are not absolute. Absolute ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? These are not very free. ಫ್ರೀ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈಡ್. ಸೊ here they are explaining us permissible restrictions on freedom of speech and expression if it is creating a problem to sovereignty and integrity of India. ನಿಮ್ಮ freedom of speech ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ, if you are giving statements which is instigating people to go against India, against the sovereignty of India, if you are questioning the integrity of India, if you are questioning the very base beliefs of India, that is to be restricted. Security of state. So ನೀವು freedom of speech ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಂದದೆಲ್ಲ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಏನು? ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಈಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. This is again violation. Restrict ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Friendly relationship with foreign states. So you are writing such a thing in your, so let us say you are an influential person. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾತು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ country will be affected by it. You make a statement which spoils the relationship between India and some foreign state. Obviously you will be restricted. You will be stopped from doing so. Public order. Sir, ನಾನೊಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತು ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಹೊಡಿರಿ ಬಡಿರಿ ಕೊಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಾಯಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. It will definitely cause effect on public order. Nuisance create ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, public enmity create ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. You call that ಉದ್ರೇಕಕಾರಿ ಭಾಷಣ or what? ಉದ್ವೇಗ ಭರಿತ ಭಾಷಣ. No, you say some word for that. There is some case that will be registered there. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. Decency and morality. You are going beyond the decency limit and you are attacking someone personally. Even that. ಇಲ್ಲ, 4 ಜನರಿಗೆ ಒಂಥರ they won't be so comfortable ಅಂತ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಆಡ್ತೀವಿ. Even then your freedom of speech will be restricted. Contempt of court. If you are speaking against the court, Prashant Bhushan case, contempt of court ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು? ಚೀಫ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ನ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನೋ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟಿನ ಯಾವುದೋ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. That actually literally amounted to speaking about a judicial body on which people believe. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ it become contempt of court and ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Defamation. If you are defaming or you are writing something about some person on your social media or maybe some other things, you are publishing it, then again your freedom of speech will be restricted. So this is one more area. Next one is right to life and personal liberty. Right to life includes those which make life meaningful. Right to life is enshrined in Article 21, guarantees right to live with human dignity. Everybody has a right to live dignified life, no matter what background he comes from. ಅವ ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಲಿ, even a beggar, even a sweeper, even a doctor, even a company secretary, even an engineer, everybody has a dignity to life. So ನಿನ್ನೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಓಕೆ ಫೈನ್, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಪನಿಷ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲಾ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವನ ಲೈಫಿಗೆ ಡಿಗ್ನಿಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. He should, because constitution is giving right to education. Article 21A says the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all the children at the of age of 6 to 14 years. So 6 to 14 years age na maklige compulsory free education should be given by the government. Right against exploitation, human trafficking. Exploitation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Exploiting the human, this entire human source. Human trafficking ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಮನುಷ್ಯರನ್ನು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. Selling people for different reasons. It may be flesh trade, or it may be this one for child labor or something like that. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ prohibited. Everything is prohibited because there is a right against exploitation which you can claim for. So you can see See You Soon anta ಒಂದು movie. There's a movie in Amazon Prime, See You Soon anta. Entire movie is recorded on this one only, what you are video conferencing alle ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. Lockdown time alle record anta movie. There actually this exploitation happens with one girl. So how she overcomes it, there this article 23 will help you actually. That is what article 23 is all about. Next one, right to freedom of religion. Sir, article 23 ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ ಮೂವಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಹಾಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. I just give an example. ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾವಾಗಾರ ಮೂವಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೆನಪಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Next one, right to freedom of religion. Of course, we said our country is secular country. State doesn't have any religion, but it will not stop any person from practicing any religion. Article 25 to 28 gives you the exclusive right to practice different religion. ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ರಿಲಿಜನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪ್ರೊಪಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್. ಅದು ಮಾಡುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್. ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ನಿಂತು ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ನನ್ನ ಹಿಂದುತ್ವ, ನನ್ನ ಜಾತಿ, ನನ್ನ ಇದು ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ 4 ಜನರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ನೀವೇ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ಕೈ ಮುಗಿತೀರಿ, ಫೈನ್, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಖಡ್ಗ ತೋರಿಸಿಯೋ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಗನ್ ತೋರಿಸಿಯೋ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟೋ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್. That is not your fundamental right. Manage religious affairs. You can own temples, or you can have temples, you can have masjids, you can have church. Everything is allowed under constitution. Freedom from taxation. No need to pay tax when it comes to religious activities. So all these things are fundamental rights available to people. Next comes ubi jus ibi remedium. A very important point. Ubi jus ibi remedium. What does it mean? Wherever there is a right, there is a remedy. So even while speaking about tort, we said same thing. Ubi jus ibi remedium. Wherever there is right, there is a remedy. So what does it mean actually? ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೈಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ರೈಟ್ ಗೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಅಡ್ಡ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, if someone is restricting you from exercising your rights, obviously you have a remedy for it. Obviously you will have a solution for it. So that is what is said to is nothing but right to constitutional remedy, which is said under article 32 of the constitution. Article 32 ಏನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it gives the right to writ. Power of writ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. Power of writ. Power of writ ಇರುವುದು ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ? ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Power of writ. Writ are nothing but directions of the court. Directions of the court given to either subordinate courts or to different public authorities or to different persons. Yake? Because one person is suffering or one person is not allowed to enjoy his fundamental right. Obbana fundamental right ಗೆ against ಆಗಿ ಏನು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವನ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೋ court is giving the order. That is called as writ. That is called as writ. So the writ is covered under article 32, right to constitutional remedy, plus article 226. High court ಗೆ writ capacity ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು article 226 ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು article 32 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ರಿಟ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಯಾರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇರೋದು? ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಗಳಿಗೂ ರಿಟ್ ಜುರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ರಿಟ್ ಜುರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನ್. ಜುರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಯವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿ. ಅವರ ಕವರೇಜ್ ಏರಿಯಾ. Writ is their coverage area. They can issue writs. Who? Supreme Court and High Courts. Why writs are issued? Writs are issued for protection of your fundamental rights. It goes with the principle ubi jus ibi remedium. Ubi jus ibi remedium. See, these type of words are listed in chapter number, that legal reasoning chapter, whatever is there, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಆನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓನ್. ಸೊ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ SLC ತನಕ ಇಲ್ಲ PUC ತನಕ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕಲಿತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇ ತರ ಇದನ್ನು ಕಲಿಬೇಕು. There is a chance that around 2 to 3 questions can be asked from that area. It is not that exclusively ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರಂತಲ್ಲ, but there is a chance that some of the questions may be asked from that area. So be at least have an idea of whatever it is. Since multiple choice ನಿಮಗೆ ನೋಡುವಾಗ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇರ್ ತಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Okay, so going ahead, article 226, every high court has the power to issue directions or orders or writs for enforcement of fundamental rights. Supreme Court could be moved by appropriate proceedings for issue of directions. So out of many writs, we have 5 writs which are important for you based on your syllabus. The first one is habeas corpus. Sir, ಯಾರನ್ನೋ ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. Say your family member has been arrested, but for no reason, ವಾರೆಂಟ್ ತೋರಿಸಿಲ್ಲ, ರೀಸನೇಬಲ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವರನ್ನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವರ ಲೀಗಲ್ ರೆಮಿಡೀಸ್ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೋ ವರೀಡ್. ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಿಟರಲಿ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ನೀವು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರು ಹುಡುಕಿ ತರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರ ಎಫರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವಯೋಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್, ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವನ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಲೈಫ್ ಇನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೈಟ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೈಲ್, ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಹೇಬಿಯಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್. ರಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೇಬಿಯಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಿ. ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರೆಮಿಡಿ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಟು ಎ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್, ವಿದೌಟ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್, ಸಾರಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳದೆ ಒಬ್ಬನನ್ನು ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಲೀಗಲ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟೀಸ್ಗಳು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಹೇಬಿಯಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್. It is a national order to let the court know on what grounds he has been confined and to set him free if there is no justification. So I said your relative is captured. ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರೋ ಗ್ರಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಗ್ರಜ್, ಒಂದು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಷಿಯನ್ ಗೆ ಗ್ರಜ್ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಯಾರನ್ನೋ ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಯಾರು? ಅವರ ಜನ ಇಲ್ಲ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಹಿಮ್. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕಿದ್ರು ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Now what is the rescue available? We'll go to the court of law and file. You will ask the court to issue something called as writ of habeas corpus. Now court will issue and court will say it is a national order. National order means what? It is issued throughout the nation. ಇಡೀ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಗುವಂತದ್ದು. ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ? ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅವನನ್ನು ಹುಡುಕಿ ತಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಎದುರು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವನನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರೋ, ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರೋ, ಅವನನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರೋ, give us reason. If court finds that this reason is not genuine, if this reason is not justified, then we will set him free. If the authority which is receiving the writ of habeas corpus doesn't follow or follow madade, it will be contempt of court na act, contempt of court act ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು punishment ಇದೆಯೋ that punishment will be given to such person. This is writ of habeas corpus. Did you understand writ of habeas corpus? Habeas corpus clear aita? Please tell me if you are clear with writ of habeas corpus. 100% clarity ide. Writs are very important. Very few writs are there. Only 5 writs are there for you. Clear. Next one is mandamus. Mandamus. Mandamus is nothing but to command. ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ರು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಎಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಹ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ 3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಹ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಎನಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಹಿ ಇಸ್ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ರೋಡ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ರೋಡ್ ಅಪ್ರೂವ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಮನೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಅದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ, ಈವನ್ ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೀಗಲ್, ಲಾಜಿಕಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲಾ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸರಿ ಇದೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ? ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಅವೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾ ಟು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ರಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್. ರಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು? ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಟು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎನಿ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್, ಇನ್ಫೀರಿಯರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ or government requiring him to or it to do a particular thing specified therein which pertains to his or its office or is further in nature of public duty. So ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟಿವ್ ಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಹೇಗೆ? ರಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್ ಇಂದ. ಸೊ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಇದು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಪವರ್. ಯಾವ ಪವರ್? ಟುಮಾರೋ ಇಫ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಇಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಕೋರ್ಟ್, ಅದೇ ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿನಿ ನಾನು, ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್, ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಅಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್. ಸಿ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್. ಲಾಜಿಕಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಲೀಗಲ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್. ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಸಮನ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ, ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ, ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸಪ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ಸ್ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಎನ್ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ. ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಅದರ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಎನ್ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮ್ಯಾಂಡಮಸ್ ರಿಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಷನ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಬಲ್ ಎಟ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದು ಜನರಲ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟೀಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ, ಇದು ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ. ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಷನ್, ಸರ್, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅದರ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿಗಿಂತ ಹೊರಗಿನ ಕೇಸನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಅ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲುಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಜುರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನ್. ಅದು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಮುಂಚೆಯೇ, ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಹೈ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಇಟ್. ಅದನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So now High Court will issue something called as writ of prohibition to the inferior court, preventing it from from going beyond its jurisdiction, which is not legally authorized to it. For example, income tax tribunal ಇದೆ. ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಬ್ಯುನಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ವಿಷಯ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಏನೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಎ ಕೇಸ್ in the court of law and ask for issue of writ of prohibition. Prohibition ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೇನು? ಅವನ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿ, ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗಬೇಕು? ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಟ್ರಯಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರೀಸ್, ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುವ ಮುಂಚೆ. The moment you come to know that court will proceed, at that time this has to happen. So you have to take care about prohibition. Prohibition happens before start of trial. Next one, after ಆದ್ರೇನು? ಆಗ ನಮಗೆ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು ಸರ್ಷರರಿ. ಸರ್ಷರರಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕೋರ್ಟ್, ಸಬಾರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ಅದರ ಜುರಿಸ್ಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಲೇಟರ್ ಆನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಕ್ಸೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದ ನಂತರ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನೌ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಸರ್ಷರರಿ. ಸೊ ಸರ್ಷರರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಷನ್ ನ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರೊಹಿಬಿಷನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ದ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ಸ್, ಸರ್ಷರರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರಯಲ್ಸ್. So it is issued when subordinate judicial body acts without or in excess of its jurisdiction, or in contravention of rules of natural justice, or commits an error apparent on the face of record. ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣುವಂತ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. In that case you can ask the higher court to issue certiorari. Certiorari is issued after the authority has exercised its power. ಅದರ ಪವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸೀಡ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವರ ಕಾರ್ಯವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, in that case certiorari will be issued. So last one is quo warranto. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, I know time is over. 2 minutes, I'll cover this quo warranto and we'll finish the class. Okay, quo warranto. What is quo warranto? Quo warranto is questioning a public person. Questioning a public person. By what virtue are you sitting there? How are you sitting there? What is your capacity to sit there? You are questioning someone. It enables inquiry into legality of claim which a person asserts to an office or franchise, or to oust him from the position if he is an sorry, if he is an usurper. So what is it? It means if a person is sitting wrongly on a position, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಆ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತಾದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವನ ಕನ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತಾದ್ರೆ, so let us say a government office requires a person to be engineer having 25 years of experience in ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Let us assume that a government office the requirement is that he should have 25 years of experience. But ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲುಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆದ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅವ್ರು ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Now you can file a case of quo warranto, asking the court to issue quo warranto writ, whereby court will ask him, how did you assume the position? ನೀನು ಹೇಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿ? ಬೇಕಾದ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾಸ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ, ನೀನು ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೊರಗಿದ್ದಿ, how are you going to assume the power? This is what it can also oust him, ಅವನನ್ನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕಬಹುದು. The holder of office has to show to the court under which authority is holding, ಯಾವ ವರ್ಚುವಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಒಂದು ಪವರ್ ನ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುವುದನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ quo warranto is very much helpful. So with this we have covered all the important aspects of constitution. Fundamental rights is there. Fundamental rights is very simple, those points, directive principles, those points, those two things, and with respect to those codes, whatever the small points are there, please go through them. With that we can cover the entire chapter of constitution. So I'll end the class for today. Thank you, take care, have a good day, bye.